Bam! What's up?
We live?
We are.
Man, it's good to be here.
It's different having you in the man shed and recording something.
At last.
It's been, like, when I tried to record earlier, like, just in here by myself, it was like, put it down, let it run for a few seconds, and just start talking and staring at the wall. Not used to having people out here.
Yeah, I mean, it does something for the dynamic.
Yeah.
So,
I have an important question for you.
all right. Let's hear it.
I haven't told you about this all week, but where did the name Harpin Coat Hanger come from?
It's actually one of Trey's old songs. Like, that was the name of the song.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're all sitting around one day and decided, like, hey, you know, like, that'd be a pretty cool band name, because the band name we had before was Cambium.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know. We were just reaching for stuff. But, yeah, it was just kind of as easy as that.
I remember when we were trying to figure out what to call this. It took us like 2 weeks to figure something out, and then out of the blue I was like, what about Gun Run? And you're like, yeah, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, I mean, the names you were throwing out were fine. But this was, this stuck. It was easy. So
Yeah, I'm surprised.
I was cool with it.
I'm surprised we finally came up with something that actually worked.
Oh, so what is on the agenda for today?
I don't know. I figured we could just shoot the shit, get away from girlfriends and wives and kids for a little bit, seeing as I just had to go yell at one of my kids for acting a fool.
Enjoy the Cayman Jack margaritas.
Yeah, it's more than I want to pay for a 6-pack, but they're pretty good. I think it was like $10.49 or something like that. But what was weird was I went to the gas station last night with a 20, and I got... Oh, no, I guess that makes sense. No, because the lady gave me $10 back, so it would have been 9 something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe she was just dumb.
It was funny. Greta bought school supplies for the kids the other day at Target. Well, they always go out there and scan your phone, whenever you do the store pickup.
Yeah.
They didn't scan the phone. They just handed her stuff and rushed off. On the app, she kept trying to figure out why it was saying that she was going to get a refund, like it wasn't processing.
Right.
And today she got a refund for the stuff that she bought.
Just because they didn't scan it?
It's like free school supplies.
Oh, I can't complain about that.
I mean, it's kind of crazy, like $42 or something.
I think Amber, she went to Target, and just for the one kid, because I told her, I was like, buy him a good backpack, buy him a good lunchbox, get him what he wants so he's not running around in a JanSport,
Right.
something, Target brand, whatever they call their brand. And I was like, I didn't want to, but I was like, here's my card. And I was like, all right, if it's for school, whatever.
Famous last words.
Yeah. And then, of course, she went out and bought all this stuff. I think he has like a Minecraft backpack and a lunchbox and a little thermos and all these school supplies. And it was more than I expected. And then, of course, later on, they were like, well, we're just going to do online school. And I was like, I just paid all this money for this backpack to sit in this closet.
Right.
Well, then, when she bought all the stuff, I was like, well, show me what you got. Let's see what you got. And she's like, we got 10 boxes of tissues, some Expo markers, and 12 boxes of pencils. And I don't know if they did this with your kids at their school, but they sent a list home of stuff that every kid had to buy. Mm-hmm. Like 3 or 4 jars of hand sanitizer, Expo markers, pencils, erasers. The kid has like 10 sticks of glue.
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, why does a kid need 10 sticks of glue? Like, there's no way they're using glue sticks that much.
No.
It's like, I mean, if they go through it, whatever. But I found out that the kids have to buy school supplies for the whole class.
Right. I feel like this year, at least with my kids, that's not so much the case because of COVID. In years past, they were buying this big load of stuff, and it was all going in the community pile,
Oh my God, it was this big, garbage bag sized Target bag.
Right.
That had just school supplies in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess they sent a list through email the other day because your kids just started school today too, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
They sent a list home of everything they needed, and it was like a box of crayons, a couple pencils, a glue stick, and I'm like, what the hell did I buy $150 worth of school supplies for if they're not going to bring them to school? And then on the list it said extra pair of clothes. I was sitting in his room last night, and she was packing his extra clothes in a Ziploc bag, and I pinched his cheek, and I was like, "This is just in case you pee yourself in school."
Pee in your pants is the coolest.
I wasn't ready to spend that much money on school, and I was like, oh my god, one of these days they're going to go to high school, and the high school's going to send a list home that says they need a Chromebook and a MacBook, and oh my god, not going to make it.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing down here, but they have let the kids bring Chromebooks home throughout the entire pandemic.
Yeah, we got a Chromebook, and last night he was doing homework while we were getting all his stuff ready, and he had to watch a video. And the weird thing was, it was a math lesson, and I haven't really done much of his homework. She usually takes care of that. I don't know how you guys do it, but the first thing said, oh god, what did it say? It said match shapes big and small, and I was like, what the hell does that mean? Well, he has a bag that has shapes in it, and it's like, they're like foam. It's like a circle, a little circle,
right.
A square, a big square. Well, of course, we dumped it out, and there's like 3 or 4 shapes, and it takes him 5 seconds to match them all up. And I was like, okay, well, then do we have to draw them now? And Amber was like, no, we just got to take a picture of it. I was like, all right, well, that was easy.
Yeah.
Well, then the next thing was, write the number 1 as many different ways as you can. And I'm thinking, like, there's really one way to write the number 1.
Right.
Well, over the course of the next 3 minutes, they came up with like 8 different ways to write the number 1. It was like the number, spell out the word, draw a picture of one certain thing, hold the finger up with just one finger. And I was like, man, I'm not cut out for this homework stuff.
No.
Well, then it goes to this video. And I'm like, all right, this would be a math video. Teach him numbers and stuff. And he's in kindergarten. So, I mean, he knows how to count up to like 20-something. And then once he hits 30, it's like 28, 29, 30, 38, 39, 30,
Yeah.
38, 39, 50. It's like, okay, whatever. But I'm thinking this is going to be a numbers video. Well, it's just a video about this kid who's bad in school. It's like, I think his name's David or something like that. And it's like, David, stop drawing on the desk. And it'll go to the next page. David, you're staying after school. And then the next page is him cleaning off all the desks. And then the next page is him getting a golden star and the teacher saying, good job.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know what this has to do with math, but okay.
The kids have a couple of those books at home. I was like, why are they writing books about me?
Yeah, really. That's me in the Marine Corps, really.
Right.
I saw a post on Terminal Lance today that these guys were holding up 2 fingers like Terminal PFC. Mm-hmm. And they had that scraggly hair that all like the senior Lance corporals usually have. And I'm like, oof, I've been there before.
Me and Greta were talking at some point today, and I don't know how we got on the subject, but I was just like, you know, whenever like everyone's at boot camp, you don't poop for 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
You know, minimum.
Yeah, too afraid to.
It's like the stress, everything. I don't know if it was all the vaccinations they gave us.
It's possible.
Or
Anti-poop vax.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard some stories there. Anti-poop, anti-boner vaccination.
Yeah.
But anyway, Terminal Lance posted that comic today. Ironically enough, it's like, dear Mom, and then, you know, just writing home. Oh yeah, like, by the way, I haven't pooped in 3 weeks. You know, as a matter of fact, like, no one has.
Yep. I remember very faintly the first couple of days, because Amber always asks like the most random questions, like we'll be watching a movie where the guys have to stay up for like a day or 2, and she's like, what's the longest you've ever stayed up? And I was like, I mean, really, it's probably close to 72 hours, whether it was the first couple of days of boot camp, or I know I think it was the last 3 days of my first deployment. I want to say we had 4 squads where we were, and 1 squad on like an annex from where we were. and we did, it was 12-hour rotations where it was like 3 on post, 3 on QRF, 3 on post, 3 on QRF. And the QRF was like, you know, your gear's in this little, not even 1-bedroom trailer thing that you're in. You just set it to the side with your gun there. If you want to go eat, you go eat, whatever.
Right.
You're not really supposed to sleep, but I mean, if you doze off, you doze off. But since 2 of the squads left, it was just 2 squads that had to man all these posts all day. And I remember going from post to the Bearcat post, back to post, to QRF. But of course, when you're on QRF, the new unit gets there. You got to do the rip with them. It's like, okay, well, you know, we'll come up here. I'll teach you about the post. I mean, we stare at this building a lot. We've stared at this building a lot. So it was something like 60-something hours of like nothing. Maybe like an hour or 2.
That's awful.
And I was telling Amber, like, you know, it was probably those 2 times where I stayed awake the longest. And I was telling her about the first couple of days of boot camp where, you know, you come in with your head down. You go in through the doors and you sit at those desks. Everybody has the same exact experience.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't matter if you came through pre-9/11 or 2020. I'm sure it's the same first 24 hours of gear. And there's that, like, poor one, like, corporal that's in, like, the supply zone. He's, like...
He's standing up on top of it.
Yeah, standing up there, like... Oh, Jesus Christ, these kids, like, make sure you got your boonie cover. And
hold out a fucking glow bill.
Yeah, and that poor guy, I felt bad for him. And then, I don't know, they might have done it with you, but they took us to basically, like, these empty squad bays, and you just sat there.
Yeah.
Did they call it Indian style back then? I feel like that'd be offensive now.
Probably, yeah, we better not go there.
Crisscross applesauce, as my kids say.
Yeah.
I remember sitting in those rooms getting box chows.
Was it kind of like the receiving, like, few days, like you got some type of receiving drill instructor or something?
Different guys than your actual drill instructors. Like, oh, these guys aren't that bad. They just come in and check on us every 14 hours.
This guy was like, yeah, let me teach you about the PFT. You know, he was trying to teach us how to do pull-ups and like, the secrets to do sit-ups and all this stuff.
Well, see, what's good about, you know, being in the infantry, I don't know how it was in security, what is it, MSG you were in?
Security forces.
Yeah, but even if you were a sergeant, you know, we had a sergeant who I think had like 7 combat deployments with his time in the Army and in the Marine Corps. You know, if you were a Lance Corporal team leader, you were still like buddies, as much as nobody wants to admit that, oh my God, an NCO talks to a Lance Corporal. Like, it's still buddies. So he wasn't my squad leader, but he was in my platoon. He was another squad leader. He went to DI school, went on to be a DI, and I know my very first squad leader, when I got to my very first unit, he went to DI school.
Really?
And I can't remember who it was, but I think there might have been another one. But I talked to him, and they were telling me about when they were a DI, because I guess they were back on Camp Lejeune for either a break or they had just finished, and he either got hurt or got in trouble or something, and they made him the color guard sergeant.
Oh, no.
So he was the guy, like, doing all the rifle drill and all, like, the ceremonies. He's like, yeah, after I finished that, I went to receiving. And then, like, I realized, like, all these DIs that are in receiving are, like, either the shitbag DIs or the broke dick DIs.
Right.
So that, like, changed my whole perspective on it. I was like, oh, these guys are so nice. Now I was like, they just don't give a shit.
That's hilarious.
But I thought that was pretty funny, so. But, back to his school, he had watched that video, and, you know, he's the type of kid that at the worst times he wants to ask for water, and I'm sure it's a whole bunch of kids, but they don't want to go to bed, so they find excuses to not go to bed.
Might have been terrible the last few weeks.
Yeah, but we're sitting in there, we're getting his school stuff, and he's like, I want some water, and I was like, go get a water bottle. So he goes and grabs one, brings it back in his room, takes a sip. And you know how 5-year-olds with water bottles. Yeah. They somehow they shake with it. Somehow it, like, sometimes it doesn't connect to their mouth.
They need a new shirt.
Yeah. But he takes his little Chromebook and he sets it on his lap to watch this video. And I was like, okay, no big deal, whatever. We're sitting on the ground. He's not going to break it. Well, then he picks up his water, and I was like, let's put the Chromebook on the ground. Because I had asked Amber a couple days ago, I was like, so what happens if something happens to this Chromebook? And she's like, I don't know. I was like, we're going to have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Bee. Get that thing out of here. Oh, man, I got bees in my garage now.
It's the hazard of shooting a podcast in the man shed.
Oh, yeah. All wood. There's no telling what bugs have been in here. Man, when winter was over, I hadn't been out here in months. Because, all I had out here was, I had a couple of these weights. I didn't even have the dumbbells, but I had those weights over there. And in wintertime, we were getting home from work at 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to come out here and work out when it's 8 degrees at all. No. So winter comes and goes, and right at the beginning of the coronavirus thing, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go fix up my man shed. I was like, I'm going to put the carpet in and, get these dumbbells in and fix my little shelf and my foot locker, which going through that foot locker, I found some gems from years ago. Pictures of my buddies in high school, their senior picture with suit and tie.
I have some of that stuff at home.
But I came out here, and in that corner over there by all the weights, I was like, all right, I'll get all the weights out, put them in the yard, and I'll sweep everything out, make sure everything's good, get all the dirt out that came in. That whole corner was covered in ants. And I was so close to just being like, I don't want to do this.
Right.
But then I was like, you know what? I want my man shed. It's because my old apartment, you were there, my old apartment, how I had all my hurricane stuff hanging up behind the TV, had that big 65-inch TV in the living room to play, Rory McIlroy PGA Tour. Then I had all my flags on another wall. Of course, coming here, I had lived by myself with just my son there. And moving here, Amber was like, you don't need to be hanging all your flags up. This isn't a bro pad. And, in my head, I'm like, okay, you're right. But, outwards, I was like, I don't want to hang my flags up. And, if I had come across and been like, yeah, you're right, she would have been like, okay, no flags at all. So I was like, I want to hang my flags up. So we compromised with the Marine Corps flag in the garage and the American flag. And I was like, I can deal with that.
Yeah.
So then, I came out here, saw all the ants, and I was like, I just need to have one spot where I can she can't say anything about it. 2 lamps in here. They don't look anything alike. I don't care. She would care.
No, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter to me. I'm sitting on a $20 little beanbag seat that I got at Walmart.
And I'm chilling on the weight bench.
Weight bench. I got a stool. I had those lawn chairs, but they're rained on, so I was like, I'm not sitting on that shit.
It's funny. I have the exact flag set up, or I had it in my shed at home. Had the Marine flag, American flag, and now I've moved those to the garage. But we started our band out of that shed,
out of the shed in your yard?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
The first jam session with Trey was in that shed.
Oh, nice.
He showed up, and it was probably January of 2017. It was cold and everything, and it was me and Trey and Chris Short, and Chris had introduced me and Trey, or reintroduced us, because we used to play shows in our high school bands.
Right.
Fighting Hayside and Small Town 60. It's a couple of punk bands. Their band was a lot better than ours, though. I'm actually wearing the Fighting Hayside shirt right now. He just hooked me up with another one the other day. But they have some really killer stuff. And I've listened to it all these years. But anyway, Chris reintroduced us and was like, hey, do you want to get together and just see what happens?
Yeah.
And so we did, and Trey had a catalog of stuff that he had written through the years. Whenever he was down in Nashville, he'd recorded some stuff. And so we were just able to jam on some of that. I learned some of those songs, and then next thing I knew, we were playing shows as Cambium.
Huh.
And, I
didn't know that.
Yeah, we played a few shows as Cambium, and then, just kind of shuffled the lineup of the band up a little bit. And then there was Harp and Coathanger.
When did the first EP come out? What is it? The Mazes? I know that's a song.
Yeah, it's a song on there. Cabin Noise.
Cabin, that's
the first EP. That was been a couple years probably,
Right.
I think.
See, before we had even met at work, I think I had seen you around a little bit, but I mean, it's a giant warehouse. I mean, we
Right.
see everybody.
Oh yeah.
I see everybody's ugly face every day. So I was like, okay, hey, how's it going? Nothing special. But Shannon at work, he was like, he's like, hey, come out with us on Saturday. I can't remember what bar it was, but it was somewhere in Kingsport.
I think it was Gypsy Circus probably.
Could have been. This is probably 2018 maybe.
Yeah.
Somewhere there, and I was like, what's going on? Like, why would I come out? Like, what, are we just drinking? Or, what's going on? He's like, well, Ryan's band is playing. And I was like, I didn't even know Ryan had a band.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I don't know what happened. I think, I want to say my son was, he was probably just a few months old, being 2018.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to stay home with him, obviously, because he was young, and I was still with the old bag. But I stayed home, and then a while later, I went out golfing with Corey.
Right.
And I was like, do you know Ryan had a band? He's like, oh, yeah, they got, their music's on Spotify and Apple Music. And I was like, why am I just now learning this? So I listened to that first EP, 4 songs?
I think 4 or 5.
I know it's just a couple.
Yeah.
Because I looked up the band, and of course I was like, what the hell does Carbon Cohanger mean?
Right.
And I was like, let's listen to these songs. I was like, man, these are actually pretty good. Because, you never expect, like, your friends to, like, come out with, like, legit stuff. Like, I know a couple of my buddies I was in with have come out with, like, rap songs. And in my head, I'm like, okay, I know this guy. I could see it being okay, but I could also see it going real bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I'll, give it a shot. And they turned out to be pretty good. But, you'd never expect somebody you work with to have, like, legit music out. So I listened to it, and I was like, it's pretty good. And then, like I said on, the first podcast, I was like, it was 8 Ball Pool.
Yeah.
That was like, yo, bro, download this game.
Yep, and then after that, it was just all downhill.
Yeah, that started the soup sandwich.
Yeah, we've been rolling with it.
It turned from 8 Ball Pool to golf to hanging out at work to hanging out at home to saying fuck it and going skydiving.
Yep. And then we were hot and heavy on GTA 5 for like, 6 months or something.
There was times, the funniest times I think to me on that game is, I'm sure Greta was awake. She was probably up reading a book. But I know Amber was awake for a couple of them, and we were talking about, like, on the settings where it tells you your time spent in GTA Online. And it was like, dude, I'm an hour away from spending a week on GTA Online. And I was like, shit, we've been playing this game for a lot longer. And then I realized that was, like, on the game. Like, if you play for 4 hours, it stops at 4 hours.
Right.
It doesn't say a day or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, damn, we played this game for a fucking week. I was like, not 1 second of that week was wasted.
No, it wasn't.
There was, I remember after we went skydiving. We went skydiving the first time, and of course we were addicted to it.
Oh, yeah.
We could not stop talking about that. It was all day.
Absolutely.
And then we would get on GTA, and we would find spots to base jump from. I looked up so many YouTube videos on where to base jump from, and then we'd always, as soon as we logged on, we'd go down to the airport, get a plane, go up, skydive to the casino. It was a routine.
That's the only way I go and do my spin every day. I just still playing, fly up there, jump in. So,
Yep.
Some days you're evading rockets. Other days it's smooth.
But I think the 8 Ball Pool days of our friendship were good. Because we'd text, like, yo, you want to play a game? Or we'd just invite each other to a game, and we'd talk shit on the little chat up top. Send those little emojis of, like, the laughing face. But I think, because I remember I had played GTA Online for a little while before I played with you. Because I remember, I think I told Brett first. Because, we we're right there together for like 30 minutes at work. And I told him, like, man, you get on GTA Online and you get into some crazy shit. There's guys in there that ride around in jets. You see a tank every once in a while. And people are killing each other all nonstop. And then I remember I told you, because I had downloaded it. God, it must have been in the winter time of last year, I think. Because I was still at my old apartment, I want to say. But I had downloaded it, and I would play it at night, and then... Because the only reason why I got it was on sale for like $1. Or like, I think the game was $5 and Xbox Live was $1.
Yeah, that's some crazy deal you got.
Because I had all those other games, like Rory McIlroy and Forza and all those other games where it was like, get on for 20 minutes, screw it, get off.
Mm-hmm.
But I got that crazy deal on it, and I told you... And then you got it, and I was like, game on.
And the first night we were so upset because
oh my God, I forgot about that.
We couldn't get anything to work.
Nothing worked. I was like, what a fucking waste.
I hate it. You're like, well, maybe we can just try again tomorrow night. And it finally worked out, obviously. But yeah, I remember going to, what was it? GameStop over on East Stone Drive.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I picked the game up.
Right.
You know, I picked it up for next to nothing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the game came out in, like, what, 2013?
Oh, yeah.
You could probably get a used one at GameStop for just a couple bucks now.
That's basically the only game that I have on disc that Parker hasn't messed up.
I could see that.
He hasn't understood the concept of,
yeah.
Hey, replace it back in the case.
Yeah, there's one game that I have on... Because I think I have... I want to say I have 2 disc games. One of them's UFC, and the other one is Rory McIlroy. I think it's Rory or one of those top golfers. But I got all the rest on the store, the Microsoft store, and I was looking for a skydiving game. So that because GTA takes like 10 minutes to get on a game. So I was trying to find a game where it was like the sole purpose of this game is you're already in a plane, you jump out. I didn't want to go all the way up. Because it takes forever to get up, no matter what you're in. Unless you're in, like, a fighter jet. So I was like, I'm going to find a game. Well, I found a wingsuit game. I don't think I've showed it to you yet.
I haven't seen it.
But the gist of the game is you're on the side of a cliff. And you've got a wingsuit. You jump off. And the map seems endless. It's obviously like a one straightaway map. Like, if you go too far to the right, it just glitches out. But the map straight seems endless. And you do barrel rolls and front flips and back flips, and you get like a little boost thing where if you're going too low, you just boost up. Well, I was playing that game the first time, and Nolan had come in, and he's like, I want to play. And like, I'll come home from work, and like I'll load up the Xbox to put on Netflix or something, and the first 2 things I always see is Forza, because it's the only car game he knows how to play, because I got NASCAR too, but he doesn't know how to shift or anything. But Forza, I've got the settings to where it's like automatic, traction controls on, all that stuff's on, so he can't spin out or whatever. He just gets this big lifted Jeep and just runs over trees. And then he'll switch to the skydiving game, switch back to Forza, switch to the skydiving game. So every day I come home from work, those are the first 2 things I see.
I need to check that out.
It was a free game too.
Okay.
See, I'll tell you why it's free. Because
there's a catch.
There's always a catch. On the square where the logo of the game is, like GTA has all the people in the background. Forza's got that like McLaren car or whatever it is. On the logo, on the side of it, it says Xbox 360.
Oh, okay.
The graphics are awful. And there's 2 modes, I think. There's freestyle mode, where you just pick where you want to go and you just try to get as many points as you can. And then there's like challenge mode, where it's like you got to fly through these 50 rings to complete the mission or whatever. And in the challenge mode, the first like group of challenges, I think there's 12 of them. It took me literally like 6 minutes.
Oh my God.
So I was like, okay, now I see why this game was free.
So is the plan to go skydiving in November? Or are we still going?
That's the plan. I'm hoping everything works out, because
Same.
I know paying for the damages from my old apartment is over now.
Right.
Because having a German Shepherd, a Husky, and a Rottweiler in a apartment was not the best idea, now looking back on it. And of course I lived in that apartment with my ex, and she would just let her Husky just go free. That dog dug up the linoleum floor.
Oh,
like, the door to the downstairs bathroom was like a real cheap door, but she tore like the whole front wood off of it.
I think I remember that.
It was awful. And then what really pissed me off was when I was getting ready to move out of there. I don't know if you remember this, but when I was getting ready to move out of there, I think I had called Corey when it happened because he knows all about that apartment stuff. The water heater had broke or something because I hadn't been there in like a week, and I came home, my entire living room was flooded. And I told him about it, and he comes in, he knew he was going to have to replace the floor, so he just starts drilling holes. Just random spots, drilling holes, draining the water. And he tried to charge me for it. And I was like, listen, that's your water heater that broke. If that broke while I was living there, you'd have to come replace it. You couldn't charge me for it. Right. I'm renting this place. I'm not buying this place. He tried to charge me for it because I went there and I think his initial thing was like $4,000 of damages. And I was like, oof. Huge oof. Yeah. I was like, this sucks. I don't have $4,000 sitting around. And then he was like, okay, well, here's the breakdown. And then I told him, I was like, I'm not paying for the water heater. I'll pay for the rest. We'll figure out a payment plan. I'll pay the rest. I'm not paying for that. So I think it's like, God, I think we came up with like $250 a month or something to pay it back. And I think I have $45 left. So I'm like, praise the Lord.
You're like, let me hold off from playing golf, and then I'll just knock this out.
No, because we haven't played golf in a while, so I'm saving that money. And then, paying it on the 1st of every month, it'll save me October 1st, I'll save $200, and then November 1st, I'll save $250, all of it. So, that's just extra money that I hadn't had before. So I'm hoping I'm just going to set enough aside each week to be able to pay to go again. That's the only thing that I don't like about skydiving is how fucking much it costs.
Yeah, at least at the level we're at right now. It's terribly expensive.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to put that on a new guitar or
yeah.
anything. Just, a few skydives, and that's a really nice American-made instrument.
It's like 4 skydives is like an entire month of rent.
Right.
But I think without paying that and, just because we've got everything we need for the house now. I've got the lawnmower, got the weed whacker, still paying on the car, but we're getting out of that stage now where we're still buying things for the house. Mm-hmm. So I think that'll save money too, but of course the kids are getting older, so everything's slowly getting more expensive. Like, oh, grocery bill, how much was that this week? Oh, that's more than I wanted to pay, but...
I think if Parker ever decides he likes meat, I'm in trouble.
Oof, yeah.
Right now he doesn't eat steak or real chicken.
Yeah.
If it's not in breaded nugget form.
Kraft chicken nuggets.
Yeah. I think what I was getting at with the skydiving, though, is I've recruited Spears.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was talking to him off and on, and at first he was like, nah, no way. And... throughout the week we just kept touching on it a little bit, and then today he mentioned it to his wife, and he said, well, she actually really wants to do it, so I think I'm down.
Oh, yeah. So tell him we'll book something in November.
Yeah, that's what I was telling him. I think the second week in November, that's probably when we would go if we went.
Well, I wrote that article thing for the Facebook page for that group, and I remember I was sitting out here while everybody was taking a nap, and I was typing it on my notes on my phone because I had done some of it at work, and then I finished it here. And just typing some of it, I was like, man, this really was one of the best things that I did. Like, I remember before that, it was just the same routine for both of us. Go to work, go home, take care of the kids. Sometimes we'd get on GTA.
Right.
Drink a few beers and go to bed. It was the same routine, and then after that, especially not telling Amber, like I know you told Greta, but not telling Amber, even when we played golf right after, I was incredibly happy that whole time.
Oh, yeah.
It's like I didn't care about shit.
We talked about, as soon as we landed, that we were probably in trouble with skydiving.
Oh, yeah.
Because we were way too calm.
I think that one picture of us where it looks like we're astronauts coming back from a spacewalk.
Yeah, we look like Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck on Armageddon.
I think on that picture, it was either you or it might have been you, but I remember looking at each other and being like, "This is gonna get bad. Like this is gonna become a thing."
Yep.
Because I had always wanted to do it, but it was one of those things where I was like, "That is dumb. Why would I jump out of a plane?"
When I looked at my Facebook memories, and for 7 or 8 years, I was looking at these posts. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go skydiving this summer, and I would keep saying stuff like that.
Yep.
Just like I've been threatening to get a sleeve tattoo for like the last 10 years.
Oh yeah, since the day I joined the Marine Corps.
Like what Marine hasn't said that? But yeah, in the skydiving, it just finally manifested. We were talking like, hey, yeah, I'd really like to go skydiving. And they're like, I'm fucking down.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
See, I think just because all my buddies went when I was in.
Yeah.
And, it's stupid. I'm not going to go. I'd rather just sit in the barracks and drink beer and be lazy, whatever. And they came back and they wouldn't shut the fuck up about it. And I was like, it can't be that great. It's just skydiving. And then, of course, watching the videos of parachutes failing. And I was like, nah, it's dumb. And then we had planned to go golfing all day on Father's Day.
Yeah.
And then it was, man, it wasn't even like, hey, let's go skydiving.
Right.
It's like, man, I want to go skydiving. And I think my next text was, let's do it. So either that or send it or something along those lines.
Something like that. Because I remember booking the reservation, and I just sent a screenshot to you, and I think the next text you sent me was your reservation.
Yeah. And I hadn't realized that they had only sat 2 people on the plane.
Right.
But we were in different groups.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, shit, we're not even going to go up with each other. And then we'd somehow, manage to get on the plane together.
I was super nervous, and that might have worked out, one, because of the size of the operation.
Yeah.
But 2, we were the first 3 asses in seats that morning.
Oh, yeah.
We're just like, hey, we're here, let us in the gate.
See, what was weird was I was good. When we pulled up to the airport, I got that, excited feeling. And I never really got that, oh, shit feeling. But I remember you were closest to the door.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when the guy was like, door, and, threw it up, I was like, oh, man. And it hadn't really hit me yet. Then I saw you twisting, and I saw you put your feet out. And I watched. And I shouldn't have watched, because I watched, and you were like, gone. I was like, oh my God, what the fuck did I do? I have no idea why I agreed to this. But the lady that I was with, she pushed me out the door.
Yeah.
I didn't fight her, but I remember the 3-minute class that we got on how to get out of the plane. Mm-hmm. I just forgot.
Right.
So she was just like, let's go, come on. And I was like, I forgot what I'm supposed to do. And then, of course, I grabbed onto the side of the plane because I was like, I'm going to throw myself out. And she's like, nope, can't do that.
I loved it, man. I mean, the first skydive, to me, it's always going to stick with me. Every sensation.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, everything about that. I mean, just how cold it felt.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
the wind on my cheeks.
Yeah.
That shit was flapping like crazy.
I mean, that's got to be one of, if not the most memorable thing.
Yeah. And see, I think what was good about doing one and then pretty much right away doing another one was we did the one and we didn't really know what to expect. You can watch as many videos as you want, but I mean, when you're 10,000 feet in the air, I'm not thinking about a video I watched on YouTube on how to do the right thing.
Nope.
But see, the first time, I know what sucked the absolute most was when she pulled the parachute. I wasn't expecting it.
Right.
And that harness that I was in, it felt like I dropped out of the bottom. I swear to God, I sunk a foot. Really? And I was like, number one, that hurt my nuts. number two, I'm going to be bruised in my groin. And, now I'm trying to wiggle out of this harness to get some room, because we're doing these 360s and spins and shit under the parachute, and everything in there was hurting. But then I remember us just sending videos back and forth to each other. I realized one thing to look for was right before the parachute gets pulled, they wave their hand. So I'm like, I'm going to watch for that. Because I think they did it with you too, because I from what I've seen, they do it with everybody. But, they lean forward, they lean back, you go out. And then once they pull that little guide chute,
Yeah.
then they tap you on the arm so you can put your arms out. Because, you have to do this.
Yeah, cross your arms.
And you can put your arms out. But what they don't tell you is when they're going to pull the parachute. So your arms are still up and you're like ragdolling. So when I saw him wave his hand, I brought my hands back to the harness. And I held on, and it was easy. And the video that we got, I don't think I told you this, but the video that we got, they cut out the most important part of that whole jump, when the parachute was twisted.
Oh, yours was twisted?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The guy that I was with, I remember him, he was like shaking back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And, his hands weren't where they were supposed to be.
Right.
And I didn't think anything of it, because I had just fallen 10,000 feet, and I'm still 5,000 feet above the ground underneath the parachute. I don't care. Like, I'm the tandem guy. I don't have to worry about the controls. Like, this guy's got it covered. I don't care. But then I've watched videos. Like, I know we've sent videos to each other of parachute fails and, like, close calls and, like, cutaways and stuff like that. And I saw one of the guys had, what's that little flat piece called? Do you know what
The
that's?
riser?
The riser, is that what it's called?
Just like right above you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he had, from there down, the cords were spun.
Mm-hmm.
It was like he had stood still, but the parachute, somebody up top had just twisted it. So it was just all twisted there. Mm. And all he did was put his hands there and untangle it. Mm. And then once he got it untangled and got under it real good, he grabbed onto the little handles and went down. And then I was like, holy shit, that's why this guy didn't bother to tell me that my parachute is twisted, that I'm under. I'm smiling like a dummy, not knowing what is actually happening 3 feet above my head.
Right.
And I watched the video after I realized that, and you can see where he waves his hand. You could see where I bring my hands in, and then you could see him pull it, and then it cut screens to when we're like 2,000 feet up.
Where everything's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, they cut that out because they didn't want me to see it, because they don't think I realized it.
That's crazy, man. I didn't know at all.
I want to say I figured this out a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Because
it makes sense.
It was the video that I sent you where I told you that I never wanted to get to this point in skydiving. It was the video where the guy's parachute was twisted and he was just falling and flipping off the parachute, and then cut away, fell for a little bit and pulled a chute. You remember me sending you that video? And I remember in that video and the video I watched before it, because it was on the suggestion on YouTube, they had both done the try to twist it out. And I was like, that looks familiar. And I guess I just never told you, but of course it was probably 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And I was just on a YouTube binge on my Xbox.
You just kind of connected the dots.
Yeah. But I was like, I'm probably never ever going to tell Amber that.
Right.
I highly doubt she's going to listen to this podcast, so.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you would have known what was going on, it probably wouldn't have been like that big of a deal, because it wasn't something you would really need to like do emergency procedures.
Yeah.
Aside from just trying to shake back and forth.
He didn't seem too worried about it, because he wasn't like. Let's just say I was an instructor. I had I think my guy had like 4,000 or 5,000 jumps.
Yeah.
Your guy had what, 13,000 or 14,000 or something like that.
It was double. Yeah, it was
something crazy.
Over 10.
So these guys have, all these thousands of jumps. Even if I'm doing like 10 or 12 a day, whatever they were doing, even if I have somebody attached to me, I don't give a shit how scared you are. If the parachute is fucked up, I'm going to fix it.
Right.
I don't care if you're sitting there screaming. I watched a video the other day of a guy who passed out in free fall and woke up like 2,000 or 3,000 feet above the ground.
Was that the one where the instructor like deployed the parachute after he like tracked and got to him?
This was a tandem jump. This wasn't an AFF jump. This was a tandem jump. The guy was like out cold, attached to the instructor, and the instructor's like, "Look at this guy, passed out, just free falling." But you know, seeing those videos, I connected all these dots, and I was like, this guy, if he seemed worried, he would have been losing his shit a lot more than he did. I mean, I know if my parachute's not fully deployed, even if I'm jumping by myself, I'm going to fix that shit as fast as I possibly can because I got 1 minute left.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing how fast 1,000 feet goes.
Yeah.
When you're flying 120 miles an hour.
I know that was one of the best things that we did together, for sure, was skydiving.
Oh, yeah.
Golfing has been fun, but I suck at golf, so I don't care.
I've brought this up to you recently, but my favorite golf memory, we rolled up to the course,
Yeah.
step up to the first tee, and you just rip one at the little draw about 300 yards up the right side, and you're like, oh, I still have my pistol in my hip.
Yeah.
Still got this concealed carry.
Well, I remember that day because I had actually met you at the golf course because it was the same distance for us.
Yep.
Like if we're going somewhere else, we usually meet up. But we just met at the golf course. And, you know, just like any other day, I put my pistol on my hip. You know, I have an undershirt, put my pistol, and then an overshirt so you can't see it. And I remember rolling up, and I want to say I was late. Like, I want to say, like, something happened to where I had to move pretty quick. Because I remember I, you know, putting my shoes on real fast. Like, maybe the parking lot was crowded and I had to park on the grass out there on the road.
Yeah,
something like that. But yeah, I didn't even think about it. I went up to the first tee, and you know, playing all those times with me, you know me, on the first tee, it's either going really far and really straight, or really far in any direction.
If you're going to miss long.
Oh, if I'm missing, especially at Meadowview, that first drive always ends up on the second fairway. Because I just lay into it and just wherever it goes. It just never goes towards the road.
I usually play my drive really well on that hole, and then I screw the second shot up somehow. I always have a mid-iron in or something, except for the one day that I played it in February and it was frozen. Like 36 degrees or something outside with a couple of buddies. And I actually had a 7-iron into that first hole. And as soon as it hit the green, it was like hitting pavement.
Yep.
You know, just gone. And it was probably 8 holes before the greens weren't frozen.
Yeah, that hitting that drive, it was probably right around 300, which is probably, 25, 30 yards farther than my average.
I'd say, I don't know, like, your average is probably, like, we're about the same. What do you think, 280, 285?
I would say right about 275 to 285 is decent. I mean, there's definitely some times where I chunk it 3 yards and I just go pick it up, tee it up again.
Yeah, that's whatever.
But then there's like that one time that I managed to just hit the right spot of the hill and I hit it 394.
Yeah.
I remember sending you the screenshot, like, right after I did it. And that same day that I hit that ball 394, it was on the second hole at Meadowview.
Yeah.
I shot a 79. It was my first time breaking 80. And I knew nobody would believe me. And then the next day we went out.
And you shot 79?
I shot a 79 again. 2 days in a row, one by myself, one with you at the same course.
That was great.
Record round.
And of course, if it wasn't for the 18th hole, you would have shot like, 76 or something?
I think, I know it's a par 4. It's that dog leg to the right. It's the worst hole in the course.
Yeah.
And if I had gotten, I think up through 17, I was at 72 strokes. Because I think on that hole I shot a 7 to get a 79.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
But see, what sucked was I thought I was at 73. Because if you remember, we had to recount my score. On like the front 9, I shot like a 30, I think I shot a 38. And then it was actually a 37, or I thought I was shooting 39, and it was actually a 38.
Math for Marines.
Yeah,
It's never been my strong suit.
not definitely not where I excel, but I had gotten the first shot. I had the same ball that whole round. First shot, straight in the trees.
Gone.
So I was like, oh, here we fucking go. I'm gonna shoot an 81. And then, I ended up probably 2-putting, which saved my ass, because I was like, man, I got a 7, that's an 80. And then I think you said something along the lines of, it doesn't seem like you shot an 80. Like, it seems like you played better than that. And I was like, I swear I did.
That was the best I've seen you hit the ball.
Yeah. Usually
really.
I'm losing at least 3 or 4 balls in an 18 holes.
Yeah.
I had the same ball until the last hole.
we pretty much, went shot for shot, playing the way we should have around through there.
Yeah. But recounting it, shooting a 79. Don't think I had my gun on me that time, though.
No.
I think it was just a one time at Graysburg, because I have 2 videos of number 10 and 11, I think, where it's the 2 like alley holes where you're shooting straight down the trees. And both of those, you could kind of see the imprint in my shirt.
Right.
And that was the same round. But another thing that I found was, I think it's number 10 at Graysburg, one where it goes downhill over the pond.
Is it the par 5?
Yeah. Like the downhill.
Yeah, like where it's, I don't know, it just sounds like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Sounds like megaphones are going off. But I have
a video of you from that day.
I have 2 videos. Here, this is what I want to tell you. One video was, it must have been wintertime. I think it was December. We had gone golfing in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
And all the leaves were off the trees. And I'm hitting this ball, and you see me smoke it over that one tree in the fairway, right down to the edge of where the pond is.
Right.
And then I have another one where it must have been spring, because the trees were all green, everything looked good. And I smoked another one, same line, straight over the tree. Yeah, I think this is the spring one.
I feel like this is this the last round we've played together?
It might have been.
I feel like you got the call on this whole...
Yeah, I think this was hey, I'm having the baby.
Having the baby, dude.
Yeah, you see me smoke it right over that tree. Yep. Good times.
I love it, man.
Well, man, we've been going for 52 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I kind of got off to a shaky start. Didn't really know what to say, but...
Oh, that was me.
But we've definitely settled in here and been rambling about some good times.
Yeah, I'm hoping these, judging by the test, microphones seem to work pretty well, so...
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's better quality than iPhone headphones, and of course with our 97 million feet of cord here, we can record anywhere we want.
Well, Cayman Jack, if you're listening, write the check.
Yeah, go ahead and sponsor us, Cayman Jack.
Margaritas.
Let's see, does any other company make this? It looks like it's American Vintage Beverage Company, Memphis, Tennessee.
Hey, come on.
Right down the road.
Hometown boys.
Yep,
Almost.
go ahead and sponsor it.
You guys can find us on Instagram, and we'll be spamming you on our personal pages.
Of course.
A little bit of Facebook action. Might try to get some radio play. I mean, just sky's the limit.
I think we're on 6 or 7 different platforms now. I think the only one that I'm waiting on is the big one, Apple Podcast. But I talked to my buddy, and he said it takes about 2 or 3 weeks to get on. So I'm hoping with more video or more podcasts and a couple more listeners every week, we'll get on there pretty quick.
Yeah, if you guys just want to hit us up on Instagram, send us any questions you want us to answer on the next podcast. We'll talk life, we'll talk military, skydiving, whatever you want to do.
Kids.
We'll talk at kids. We got plenty to say about them.
Yep.
Not much of it's good. Nah, I'm just playing. It's all good.
Well, I'm going to go edit this video tonight or tomorrow and send you a little sample so you can listen to it before I post it.
All right, sounds good, man.
All right, man.